Hello and welcome to this quest for a 2000 rapid chess rating on chess.com. So I'm waiting for an opponent right now. I think I have it set to 25 points below my rating and then anything above that. So it looks like we have a 1742. I'm going to play the Caro-Kann against e4 here. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, the exchange variation. So right away, they're just attacking here. What should we play? Well, do we go ahead and capture and leave them with the isolated pawn? That's a possibility. Do we go ahead? We'll just develop a piece here, fortify in the center. Okay. Now, do we develop our other knight? So if we do that, that's a possibility. And then we'll have a threat. So let's just go ahead and develop. All right, so they do likewise, but now we could pin. So if we go ahead and pin, we'll just go ahead and pin their knight to the queen. And what should we try now? Okay. So they capture, leaving themselves with the isolated pawn. We can go ahead and take there. All right. Now what? Probably we should attack their queen first. So if we attack their queen first, I think that'll work. We'll go ahead and capture there. Oh, but now that gets rid of the doubled pawns. All right. So what should we try next? Probably just drop back and have him create weaknesses on his king side. Well, we might have to go here with our pawn. So maybe we'll just capture. I don't know if I want to do that though, so I'm just going to retreat back, because if I capture, it would just help him develop his queen. The problem is now we might have an attack on our knight. Okay. So now I probably need to take that, and then I can chase his queen. So if I take, his queen takes, and then I move my knight into the center, what do I do then? That might not, well, I could drop back to here. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, wow. I really have to watch out, yeah, for that check right there. So I kind of have to go back, but that'll give me time to chase his bishop away with that move. And then it looks like I could go ahead and attack. All right, so here, what should I do? Probably chase his queen. If I chase his queen, do we have an attack on his king? Oh, maybe. No, we have to watch out because he's still lined up on my knight here. So he's got the queen, so I have to keep this guarded. I could just start attacking here, try to drive his queen back and get my bishop developed maybe. Could just chase his... And we might as well do that. Might as well just chase that bishop away. And then attack his queen. And then that'll let me get this bishop on the good diagonal here, threatening. Yeah, if I get my bishop here. Okay, so now we could just go ahead and attack his queen again. What could he do? All right, let me think. If I go ahead, attack his queen, where can that queen go? What weaknesses do I have? He's trying to target this, mate threat here, I guess. But if I go there, then he could just attack my knight once I move the knight here, he could just move his queen and attack it. Maybe he goes there. I could go here, protecting the knight. Ooh, actually, let's see. Let me take a look at this. There might be more going on here. He could try and threaten to push this forward and then bring his queen here and get an attack going. So maybe I should just develop my bishop, or he could line his queen up on the E file. So I'm just going to develop, instead of wasting so much time here. Now I'm ready to castle. All right, what will my opponent do next? All right, we'll let their clock tick down a little bit. I took a little bit too long on that last move, almost 2 minutes. So I'm ready to castle. And now we could just go after this pawn, but he could defend that. We could go after his queen. probably I should just castle and get my king to safety. Yeah, that might be the best thing to do at this point. So I'll go ahead and castle. I need to get a piece on, get a rook on this c-file and put some pressure on this pawn, especially with my bishop lined up like that. So maybe I should have done that first. I don't know. I wanted to get my king to safety. So now, okay, so they immediately attack there. We could just bring the knight up, but where is best to put that knight? You know, and I could just push my pawns and attack this bishop. Options. Do I jump up here attacking the queen? But then what? How do I follow that up? Maybe I just press forward here. We'll just do that. I don't know. This might open up some weaknesses, though, for me. All right. All right, what now? What now? Should I bring the rook over? Well, they could just push this pawn immediately and I wouldn't be able to take it because my queen would be under attack. All right, we'll just go ahead and attack him. Now, we could just, no, we can't push. So, do we attack the queen? That's a possibility. Bring this over. Might as well do that. Just add some pressure to that piece. Okay, so now, what next? What next? We attack the queen. All right, what now? Okay, interesting move. So he obviously wants to bring his bishop up here and threaten a mate here. So what I'm going to do, I guess, is drop my knight back and block that. So we'll do that. What now? Well, one issue with that move is if he pushes this pawn and captures there, I would have to capture with the rook, and then he could pick off my knight. So if he pushes this pawn, I'm going to have to attack his queen. Ah, same thing. Yeah, I already made a mistake. Wow. So maybe I have to get my king up here. So I don't know. He's taking a long time for this. Well, even though they're still quite ahead of me. So his best move is probably to push that pawn, I think. Wow. If he does that, I can attack the queen. I don't know. It's not looking too great. I think that pawn push will give me a problem. If they push this pawn forward, what do I do then? If I push my pawn and attack their queen, they can just take the pawn. And if they take, and I take their bishop, they could snatch up my knight. And they'd end up going up. Do they actually go up a pawn? Let's see. Yes, they would go up a pawn. So it looks like, all right. So maybe I need to bring my rook up and double it, preventing him from pushing that pawn. All right, we'll just go ahead and do that. And then I can attack his queen with my queen. And this prevents him from pushing his pawn forward. So the one issue, though, is he could push this pawn. I don't know. And this rook is unprotected, so I probably have to look at going here. Okay. Interesting. All right, now I can just go there. Oh, wow. Now there's the threat of going here and forking if he pushes that pawn. I'm getting myself into a little bit of trouble here. Okay, so I do not want to take. I probably have to attack his queen. Attack his queen. And then take? Does that work if I attack his queen? All right. Okay. Oh, I can actually move here and attack his queen. Maybe he didn't see that. Ugh. Okay, so he thinks he has me in trouble, but I can move here attacking his queen. So that works. And then I can move the other one out here. All right, so I think we're good. All right, his queen is under attack. What should he do here? Where's the best spot for that queen? Oh, wow. Maybe right here. Well, no, if he goes there. Oh, yeah, that could still be the best spot. It's starting to get tricky here. Yep, he finds the best move. Okay. Okay. Well, how can I respond to this? This game just kind of got really tricky here. Okay. Hmm. All right. What can I do against this opponent? Well, I could just attack his queen, I guess. So I'll just go after his queen once again. Oh, wow. Oh, this is kind of a crazy game. Okay, so now I can just go ahead, recapture. Okay, so that works. What should my opponent do? And I'll have the chance of moving up here, trying to put pressure on his F pawn maybe. I need to put more pressure on this. Okay. Well, I probably have to capture now. If I take, he takes. Wait a minute. I have 3 attackers. He only has 2 defenders. So does that work if I take... Oh, he'll chase that away. All right, let's take a look at this before I run out of time. So if I take, he doesn't have to take. He'll just attack my... Yeah, he could just attack my rook over here. So all right, probably need to activate this other rook. So do I just take here? Am I wasting way too much time? If I do that, he'll probably attack here. But then what? What do I do? All right, let's just go after it. So now he'll attack my rook. Yeah, okay, that move was kind of obvious. Okay. But now that gives me time to move here. Okay. Now this is where it gets tricky. I thought I was going to just move over here with my rook, but I have to watch out for this possible check. If he does that, that could cause problems. So why don't I just bring my queen up? Like that first. All right. What now? What now? You know, if I was him, I would probably just defend. You know, just go ahead, bring a rook up and defend this pawn. And then he'll have the threat of attacking my queen here. All right, what can we do here? What can we do? Probably need to get my queen off of that light square. Now, what if they push? What if my opponent pushes this pawn here? Well, I could take. Then if he takes, my queen. So if they go there, take, queen takes, rook takes. Okay, so he just decides to back up there. All right. Well, do I go after this pawn? That's a possibility. Now I have to decide. Do I want to knock out a pawn over here, but then he has a passed pawn on the queen side? I don't know if I like that. All right. Well, if I take the pawn, he takes this one. Then what? We'll just go there. And now what? Now what do we do? That pawn might end up being hard to defend over there. Okay, looks like I might be forced to give that pawn up anyway. So if I go over here, well, I might as well take that. Let's see, let's see. So we'll just go after that because I'm going to end up running out of time if I'm not careful here. And then we can march our other pawn up, I guess. Need to activate our bishop. So what now? What now? Okay. I'm too low on time to be dealing with all this. All right. So what do we do next? Is there a way to get in at this king? All right, what if we just go there, attack that rook? At the same time we get our bishop developed, or we open a diagonal for our bishop. All right. What now? Now I have to watch out for this passed pawn. So we can push forward here. Okay. What now? What now? All right, I should keep that. So let's see. Can't do that. All right, I'm just gonna attack since I'm not kind of running out of options here. Okay, so now what should we try next? Um, do that. We'll just attack this queen. Okay, now what? Man, 2 games in a row. I'm just so low on time here. Okay. All right. Now what? All right. Now we can attack a little bit here. Okay. What now? We'll go there. Okay. So now what can they do? We'll go there and stop his passed pawn. Oh, I messed up. Yep. Okay. Well, maybe not. If I go there, oh wow. Can I go here and then deliver a mate there? I think I have a mate in 2. I don't know. They're taking a long time here to figure out what to do. They could stop me if they retreat their queen. Oh, this sneaky. This is why sometimes I think people might be cheating. This is ridiculous. Are you kidding me? If I had more time to think this out, but I do not. Okay, so he's attacking me. Now what? Great. Great. What now? What do I do? What do I do? We'll just go there. Yeah, that probably was not the best move. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Um, if I go there, there, yeah, I'm pretty much lost now. Man, I probably could have played that better, but I was so low on time. All right, so now they're going to try that, really? Okay. Um, what do I have here? That, maybe? And now I'm just lost. So pretty much lost here. Okay. Um, Guess I should just let the time run out. That sucks. Two terrible games in a row. The time got me on both of them. All right, well, I guess I had a good streak earlier. Now I'm on a slump. All right, game review. Let's see what we should have done here. I thought I had definitely had a chance in the end there. Maybe not, but it looks like I had one chance there. Something happened earlier where I was actually winning. Um, what can you see here? Um, all right, my opponent played 82.9% accuracy. I played 77.9, and they had one brilliant move, three great moves. They played at a 2050 level. I played at a 1800 level. Three inaccuracies, one mistake, four misses, and a blunder for my opponent. I had three inaccuracies, three mistakes, three misses, and a blunder. So let's see. We'll do the quick game review, just blast through the moves, and then I'll do computer analysis afterwards. All right, so we're still in book moves here until this point, I think. The last book move was after I took the knight. So then apparently I should have taken immediately here. So they go there and I retreat. I should have taken that knight. So that's a great move, I guess, attacking. Now I have to take that knight anyway. So instead of that move, they should have retreated their bishop. And maybe here, well, I can't really do much because their queen and bishop are both attacking me. So that's the best move. And that is the best move. So that was definitely a blunder right there, bringing that knight back. What should I have done? Oh, why didn't I see that move? I should have attacked their queen. Okay, I'll look at that in the analysis. So that was a miss. They should have pushed forward, which I thought they would do, because then they could capture here. If my rook captures, the queen would capture. All right, so that's a great move. But, and another, looks like I had a lot of great moves, but it didn't help me win, did it? All right, so I'll have to take another look at that whole fork and, you know, what just happened there. Okay. So now we're getting close to that 1 point I had, you know, to win. I should have pushed forward here with the other pawn, apparently. All right, so that was a blunder. What should they have done? They should have moved here, you know, and then maybe get ready to pile up here. Oh, no, here the rook would just be protected. You know, if they move the rook here to d1, that would have protected their back rank, and the bishop would be protecting, everything would be protected. But, you know, then I would be able to take here. So what does it say I should have done next? I should have checked immediately. So if I checked, oh wow, yeah, that would have gotten my opponent in trouble. If I had more time, then by then I was so low on time, I probably would have examined that better. So if I go back, they can only go to the G file, and either way I start chasing them around. Wow. So that's the move that I missed, was instead of that, I should have immediately dropped back to h6. I just didn't check fast enough. You know, again, the time got me. All right, so what do we have here? Yeah, then after that, I'm just in trouble because what do I do here? I have to go there. Now that's a missed opportunity. Oh, apparently I should have captured. Wow. They're saying I should have captured. If I would have done that and they, oh, if they recapture, no, they can't because it would have been a mate. See, all this stuff I missed because I was running out of time. All right, let's blast through the final moves. And then, yeah, here I'm just lost after this. All right, well, why is it not showing the next move? Okay, it's saying I should have gone here. Yeah, at this point I was losing, but I had a chance there at the end to try and win. I don't know what I did in the beginning. Apparently I got behind and was losing in the beginning of the game. So let's take a quick look at that from the beginning. So we played the Caro-Kann exchange variation where they capture here, I recapture, and then the pawn immediately puts pressure on. This is the Panov attack. So what is best here? It looks like just knight to f6. You can play e5 apparently and counterattack. I don't know if I would like that. Or not e5, sorry. e5 does not work. e6, I mean. e6, guarding our pawn. But then, you know, if they capture in the future, we'll both have isolated pawns. So, knight to f6. I'm guarding my pawn. So they put more pressure on it. Now, knight to c6 is the best move. What next? Recommended is bishop to g5, threatening to capture my knight and double pawns maybe. my opponent just develops the knight. So here, the best thing to do is bishop to g4. So I found that. What next? Bishop to e3 or bishop to g5. What did my opponent do? They captured, so that's a possibility. White has a slight edge here. Best is to recapture with the knight. Now, queen to b3 is the one move. Oh, or h3. Queen to b3 or h3 are the best moves for white to keep some kind of edge, but it's just small. So they play h3. And here it looks like retreating maybe is best, although I decided to capture. So if I would have retreated, now they're saying to capture would have been even better. So what, capture? Then we have that. And now what do I do? Knight at D to b4. Oh, jump up here and threaten a fork. And that would also keep the isolated pawn. So that's the one move to keep the game even for black. Then what? Bishop to c4. You just develop the bishop, target the f pawn. I would have to play e6. Well, let's take a little look at that. So best move, the only move that keeps the game even for white. And here, apparently, I could play knight to c2, check. Okay. I don't know. That looks, how does that even work? So the best move apparently is just that, to block. Although now the computer is saying that knight to c2 is the best move. So here white should just castle. If they castle, then queen takes d4 here. So let's look at this knight to c2 move. If we go back, knight to c2 check, king over to where? f1. King to d1 or d2 would be bad, so if they move the king over, well then we still have to play e6. Okay, so what if that happens? What if they go, king to d1? Well, it looks like we could capture here with a check. Oh, and then we get this bishop. Or we could play e6. How does e6 work? If we do that, they play what? Bishop to e3. What if they just take here? What if they just take the knight? Oh, then we attack, we fork. Then we would capture with our knight, forking king and queen. Okay, back to what was happening actually in the game. So they recapture. Now my best move is to capture, but I retreated. And this is a huge difference. If I would have captured, it would only be plus 1.3 for white. But now that I retreated, it's a plus 3 advantage for white. So let's see if we can figure out why. D5 is the only move that keeps that advantage. And of course, my opponent found it. So after that, we have what? Bishop takes. Queen takes. So that's what actually happened in the game. And then knight to e5 is the best move. Bishop to b5 check is best. Knight retreats is my best move, obviously, or otherwise I have to give up material. And now castling. Castling is best, but instead my opponent makes a mistake by adding pressure here. But now the game is only plus 0.5 in white's favor. So the best thing here now is to attack. What should have white done? White should have castled, and then I should go ahead and attack the bishop. The opponent should retreat, and then I should keep attacking, retreat, and then what? Knight to c5, maybe, or queen to c8. All right. Well, in the game, we had this move, and I play the best move, attacking the bishop. Bishop retreats. That's an inaccuracy. Apparently, it would have been better, and now the game's even. It would have been better to just go ahead and capture that knight. So, if the knight were to be captured by queen or bishop, well then, let's see, we're just going to trade off material, and my king would end up being in the middle of the board. But with most of the pieces off, that probably wouldn't matter as much. Okay. In the game, they retreat. The best move is to attack that bishop again. They retreat. And now g6 is best. I think I found that. Yes. The only move to keep the game about even. And so after the queen retreats to the best square, of course, now what? Bishop to g7 is best. And then castling, or what is best? Bishop to g5. My opponent castles, the best move. So I castle, which is best. And now bishop to g5 maybe is the best move. And my opponent finds that best move. All right, h6 is best, so I find that. Bishop to f4. No, bishop to h4, so they find another best move. This isn't too hard to find. I mean, I guess you're going to go here and keep pressure on this, or force me to push my pawn forward, which apparently here rook to c8 would have been a better move. But instead, I make an inaccuracy. So now they're saying even bishop to f6 would be good. So maybe I should have just gone there. All right. Yeah, there I'd be attacking their bishop and forcing them to make a decision on, they'd probably trade, and my knight would end up slightly forward attacking this pawn. But instead, I attack, they retreat. Now what? Rook to c8 is best. So that's what I played. They defend. And apparently queen to f5 would have been better here. Queen to f5. So hold on. Queen to f5. Moving the queen here. Oh, because you're threatening to bring this up and try to checkmate here. So if they played queen to f5 immediately, now if I take this, they can no longer put their bishop up there. You know, although they're saying rook to c5 might have been a better move. But now, rook at a to c1, the rooks would attack. All right, so in the game, we have that. I attack, that is best. Queen starts lining up here. And then I make this blunder, moving the knight here on g6, when apparently the one move that keeps the game even is that. So, you know, then the best thing to do would be to trade off queens. You know, and all the tension would kind of fizzle out after that, or most of the tension. So here they recommend c4. Wow, knight to c5. Or no, actually captures. And then, what are they saying was best? Knight to c5. Now it's saying knight to c5 would have been better. So if I do that, then they capture, bishop, what, to c2 to avoid a trade, to keep the bishop pair. All right, now, what, knight to a6. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. Here they recommend that I just go ahead and capture the knight. You know, and then we both have pawns here on the edge of the board. The other option is back to b3. But then I just go back and attack that bishop again. So anyway, I played my blunder. They have a missed opportunity. An immediate d6 would have been the best move here. So d6. And here e6 is the best move. But then, like I said, if that is played, they can go ahead and capture here. If I take, the queen can take here. And now the recommendation is queen up to f6 and a queen retreat. The computer generally seems to like to keep the queens on the board most of the time. You know, especially if the king's a little bit open or there are weaknesses that the queen can go after. All right, so in the game, I move here to prevent that pawn from pushing forward. White still has an edge, so what next? The queen retreats back. But what now? That's an inaccuracy. Apparently c4, pushing the c-pawn immediately would have been better. So here, the only move that keeps the game even is bishop to e5. Wow. Just bishop to e5. Maybe getting ready to blockade that pawn. But I don't know about that, because then that would leave a gap around my king's defenses. Okay. We had that move. An inaccuracy. White is ahead by half a pawn equivalent. The pawn pushes forward. E takes d6. Apparently is the best move now. Which, yeah, I actually found that in the game. At first I thought I couldn't do that because of the fork, which is the second best move. Apparently it's better to take this with the rook. Oh wow, because then you're immediately threatening to take the knight because the bishop is pinning this pawn that's defending the knight. So rook takes d6 is better here instead. So if you do that, I have to play what? Knight to h4. Knight to h4. Knight to e5 is best. So that move is best. And then here the bishop should capture. Otherwise the queen will just have to move. All right, in the game, we had the bishop recapture. So rook to f5 is the best move. Queen to h5 is played, threatening to capture here. So now knight to f4. Looks like that should be played. Oh, man. Okay. That's the only move that would have kept the game even. No, hold on. What are they saying? Oh, knight to f4. I got to attack the queen. That's e4. So let me go back here. That move. Oh, and that's what I actually played in the game again. So here, bishop captures. So that's the best move. Rook captures is best. And then c4 was played. Apparently g3 might be better, rook to c2, but this is played. And now the best thing is probably to capture with the pawn. So that's what I did. g3 is played. And here rook to e4 is recommended. Oh, wow. But if I played that, they could knock out this pawn. How does that even work? Apparently that's the only move to keep black in the lead, is to go, oh, right here. Okay. Rook to e4. So if I do that, then they recommend h4, and then we just capture, or not. Bring our queen up to e6, apparently. How does that even work? Queen to e6, it looks like they could just go ahead and attack here. Oh, no, we would just capture with our rook. Okay. Bishop back to c2 would be better. All right, in the game, what did we have? We had this capture. g3 was played, and I went rook to f6. Not the best move. Now I'm behind. After this capture, apparently a rook capture would have been better. Queen to f5 is the second best move. The game is still about even, a slight edge to white. Queen to e2 is the best move. Capturing the pawn would have been better here, but I defended this. Now an attack on my queen, and I'm kind of forced to take that. What now? Rook captures. Rook to f5. So rook to c8 would have been better. What? Rook to c8. That doesn't look so good because of the discovered attack. Oh, no, they can't do that discovered attack. Or, yeah, I guess they could. So they're telling me rook to c8. Does this discovered attack work? They're saying that does not work. If I go here, my opponent takes with check. Oh, the queen is guarding that. Okay, the queen would just pick that off. Okay, so this was played. We start trading. Now white is just ahead. At this point, I was getting so low on time. That's why I started making these bad moves. I'm just gonna, I don't know, quit complaining and just learn this opening and middle and end games for these openings a little bit better, and then I won't have as much problems. Yeah, and here I go, just trading off more material. It would have been better to just develop my bishop instead. All right, that was the mistake. H4 apparently is better. But I thought, well, then they could just push this pawn forward, but that would create weaknesses. It looks like the best thing would be to play king up to g2, and then, wow, I should play h3. Well, that's the second best move. Queen to f5 is even better, apparently. Oh, nope, now they're saying h3. So the computer recommends that move. King could go back to g1. The second best move is to capture, but now, oh, now we just capture this right here. Okay, that's why. And the king is wide open. All right, but g4 was played. They missed an opportunity. What should they have done here? Instead of that move, rook to c4 is better. So moving here and targeting the pawn. Wow, if they played rook to c4, apparently I should play queen to g6. I don't know if I like those moves. So if they play that, the recommendation, oh, now the recommendation is just to push the pawn up to h4. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. Apparently they want that move. So queen to g6. But then they could go here and attack me, which is recommended. Queen up to e6. Okay, before this video drags out, way longer than I wanted it to, what happened? I pushed there. At this point, the game is still up in the air. Now, after this move, instead of capturing over here, I'm actually ahead. So capture, capture, and rook to f1 attacking my queen would have been better, it looks like. But I think they're about the same. So after that, queen to d6. Now here I have different moves here to play. Queen to d4 is okay, check. King moves. Now what? The best thing is queen to d6 or queen to d3. Multiple options here. So I play queen to e3, forking bishop and pawn. Rook moves. So that was the big blunder. And after this move, it looks like, well, first of all, what should they have played? Rook to d1. Rook to d1 would have been better. And at this point, I should go ahead and capture this pawn. If I capture the pawn, their best move to keep the game equal is pushing their pawn. So here, what? I can check the king by going here. King to g1. Now what? Queen to e3 or g3. Well, I could go there. The king could go back in the corner. Then what? What happens if I go here, they go here, and I push this pawn to here? They're saying that's best. And now it's basically forced. Maybe not. There are other options. The best move is to capture this pawn with check. And then my king should go to h8 after that. Like that happened in the game. All right, what should they do? Queen. If the queen goes up to g2 here, I could take. King takes. And now what? Rook to a8. But oh, they can't guard that pawn. See, I would have noticed that in the game if I don't know if we were at that point in the game. Let's find out. So after this blunder, I made a mistake there. I should have, the one move that would have won the game is that. Now the king goes where? Up to g2 or g1. If they go to g1, I'm just going to check the king anyway. So if the king goes to g1 on the dark square, I bring my bishop out checking, and they would have to block with their rook. So if they go here, then what? Queen up to h3, king over to f2. Well, they're saying g1 is better, but I don't know. It's not looking good at all. Maybe we go here, but then I also have queen to h2, it looks like. So we go there. They're saying king to e3 is the best move. Because now their king's going to be out in the open. I can bring my rook into the fight and just start chasing that king all over the place. So all right, let's wrap it up. In the game, I messed up allowing that. I did find a good move here. Now the game is even. Of course, they find the best move, preventing my queen check here. So the only move I have to keep this game even, I ended up playing that, which is a missed opportunity. I had to go ahead and capture. Well, then they have queen to c8. The only move that they can play is queen to c8, king up to g7, queen takes, oh wow, g4. I would have been in trouble trying to play all this under time pressure. King up to h6, then queen to h3, king to g6, and that would have been a draw back and forth. All right, well, in the game at this point, what here? What should? Oh, I have another chance. Queen to h5 check. So, wow, did I miss that too? Oh, wait a minute. They can take me, but then I can take them with check. King to g2. Oh, wow, I had a draw chance. And then I just check them back and forth. And they have to be, they have to just be chased back and forth here. So let's see. Check. King to h, wherever they go now, I'm just going to check them back and forth. If they go to g1, like that, well then I can go here, or actually, they don't want me to go to f6. It's saying I have to go to f4. Huh. F4. The king will go to G2. Or wherever the king goes, I'm going to just check back and forth and it'll be a draw. Now, what if I went here? Why does that not work? Well, oh, because they can just pick off my... All right, that's why they said to go to F4. All right. I would be protecting the bishop. So if I go there, check... they can't just take me because they won't be able to promote their pawn in time. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up here. Let's see. We went down to the last moves. We're here. I'm just losing. After capture, rook, they find the best move. So what now? Bishop to E3 would have been better. Bishop to E3, attacking here. But, after rook to B8, I don't have time to do anything. Because if I capture, then they're just going to grab this. If I don't, they're going to promote. So, in the game, where did we end? I go there. They finally do that. So we take, and, it's a queen versus a bishop, and I run out of time anyway. All right. Feel free to leave comments, as always. Like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching, and have a super chess day.